Today I'm going to be doing a tutorial on this game and how some weapons work. The reason why I'm doing this is because nobody else has really done it, and also after many years of playing, I see people not knowing how to use any of these weapons. So then what they do is they try to stick to one weapon in default and use up both their weapon picker. So what I'm going to do today is go over a couple of weapons. I'm not going to go over all of them, so I will do multiple parts of this though, so don't worry, I will get through all weapons eventually. There's just a lot of different weapons. I'll be covering range, melee, and the specials, as well as your movable ones that help you get around faster. Let me freeze game timer, and then let me go ahead and clear my inventory. And we're going to start with the first weapon, the baseball bat. Let me get myself a dummy. Okay, so... you're joking. Hold up, let me exit and rejoin because that glitch is annoying. So people that don't know, there's a stupid glitch where whenever you do the attack, it makes you move forward, and I hate that thing. Okay, so we got the baseball bat. Baseball bat is a melee weapon. You're supposed to be infinite HP. Yep, there we go. Let me fix my camera. So baseball bat is a melee with a 30 damage. However, there's a unique trick to this weapon. It has extreme range, so like this. As well, it's an overswing. Well, I can hit people from all the way over here. That's very long range compared to other weapons. You can also do a jump with it because of the fact that it's overhead, meaning it's going to hit majority of the times if you're aiming at a certain area while jumping, which also gives you more mobility. One of the faster weapons. Other than that, there's not anything else in the baseball bat, so we'll move on. Now we got the blade tooth, however you say it. This one's interesting because it's all-around weapon, meaning you can hit multiple. If I were to do this, it will hit both. If I were to jump, hit both. And then as you see, as you're jumping, it gives you a little jump boost upwards. You can still hit opponents mid-air while in the air with this. So usually you want to pair this with something that's like you jump up with. So like the Mario jump in this, which is like this, the jump charge. Use it for that. Its ability does a spin attack that will slice through enemy opponents. However, it does have a stun. If you were to activate the slam right next to an opponent, it will stun them for a brief amount of time, as well as you will get some easy, juicy damage because of it, because they're stunned. Again, you want to mostly use this. Its ability also affects his air, allowing you to get super high up without any need of anything else. Again, you can also hit them in the air while still low to the ground because it still has that hitbox. But yeah, overall, this has no limit to how many people this can hit. So if I were to spawn this many, there's no limit. It can hit as many people. Even the ability can hit as many people. Has no limit whatsoever. We're going to move on to the next weapon. Next, we got the charger, and the charger is an interesting one because the concept behind it is you charge at your opponent like this. Now, it does have a chance to grab people like that whenever you charge at them, but what you really want is this. Whenever you hit a surface with it and you hit them back with it. This can be very helpful if you, surprisingly, and this is only emote, but if you have the emote to make a wall, you can use that wall to do damage with this. have it right here. Let me show an example. I'm gonna put a wall right there. Oh, it didn't work. Hold up. Right there, you see how it worked? You can use this as a solid. So that's what many people don't know. You can actually use this as a weapon for the charger if needed. Because if you're in an open area and there's no walls or anything, just place this down behind them and then manage to get them with it. Now, unfortunately, it doesn't have any abilities. However, there is a way, whenever you do it, you are stun locked. Keep in mind, you can still take damage while charging with this. But you see, I can't move at all whenever I'm starting to charge, which is a vulnerability. There's a way to fix that. If you were to have something like instant remission, what you could do is, as soon as you use this, do charger straight after, and it allows you to move slightly. It's not that much. Honestly, the roll is better because it allows you to move left to right more easily and hit your opponents more easily. Because by the time you're already charging, they're going to be able to easily dodge out of the way anyways. So that's why it's better paired with stuff like this, where you can easily move yourself and adjust yourself depending on which way they're going and trying to dodge. It's a better case of it, where I move more to that side. Yeah, I'm going to show it again. You can also move forward with it, but usually moving forward, it's not. You're going to go forward, so it's no point. The reason you would go forward if they are very far, because unfortunately, this does not keep running. You will eventually run out. That was a terrible show. Do it again. You will run out of running because you can't charge forever. But it's still something to behold. Let's move on to the next weapon. We have the claws, and this one's an interesting one. By itself, the claws do 22 damage per swing. However, the hitbox is impressive, because anything in front of you is basically going to be it. It does 2 swings left to right. Its ability gives you more damage, 3 more damage to 25, as well as its increase in speed. As you saw there, it went from 20 to what, 35 or something like that? 31. It also gives you a jump boost, allowing you to jump around a lot more compared to normal. Hi, RPP, yeah, hello. That's how you use the claws. Now I got the large spoon, which this one's an interesting one, because this does allow you to hit multiple. Even when you're behind them, it still has such a big radius that you still hit them. Even if I were to do something like this, you can still see it still hits them. Its ability, what it allows is it allows it to grab dirt, basically, or like gather dirt onto the spoon. And this could be used many ways. You can swing it, and it'll do extra damage because it's a projectile. Like so. You can use it as a ranged weapon, because the individual blocks will fly off and hit opponents. The more you get, the more there will be flying. For example, right here, see how there's more? You do it again, see how there's less. It has a hidden ability not people know about, though. Once you get it, if you keep going and fill it up, you will do a barrage attack where you send lots of pebbles towards their way and do a lot of damage. But keep in mind, this does count as a projectile. So if I were to get, where is it? There it is. What's up, Lefty? Now, since this is projectile, it can be reflected, as you saw there. And then same thing if I were to do the barrage. So that's why you have to be careful with it, because it can be easily reflected from any weapon that will reflect in this game, and I'll go over which ones will once I get to that weapon. But other than that, this is not a bad weapon. I think many people sleep on this weapon because they don't know its mechanic and how it works. This weapon does have a lot of range, and as well as it has a huge AoE. Because even if I were to sit behind this dummy right here, it would still hit them. It also does a bit of knockback, like you just saw right there, how it pushed them forward past me. It does give a bit of knockback. I'll move on to the next. We got the command block staff. This has a bunch of unique things. First thing it does is attack does a left sweep, a right sweep, and then a down center sweep. So usually you want to go with the way this is going to be swinging. So whenever you're facing an opponent, you want to go to the left, go to the right, and then back up and do a straight attack, usually. Because of the range, these two attacks won't hit regularly, but the straight will. Because the straight usually has more range than the left to the right swing. Its first ability does a lunge towards your opponent and fires arrows into it. But then again, we also run into the same issue, and I don't think many people know this, because every time I played, nobody has ever used this against me, but I definitely have used it against others. Let me show an example of what it looks like whenever I hit something that throws back projectiles. This is what happens. Instead of them taking the arrows, you're actually going to take the arrows back to yourself. Now, if they don't have a counter for it, like Marvel or anything like that, then you're fine. This is a very good way, because not only it stuns them, it puts them in place, and it allows you to move closer to do your damage. And of course, you went back up on that one. Its other ability is a lightning attack that will strike down on you and hit all targets in the area. Now, there's no limit on how many targets this can hit. This can hit infinite. It does 10 damage and then 1 burn damage, but it also inflicts 10 damage and 1 burn damage to counter towards you as well. So you have to use this one with precaution. It usually does not do that much damage. It's more to use whenever you can't hit somebody and they're low health. This is when it's best used, typically. But other than that, you're not going to really find much use of it. You can still use it, though. It's not a bad ability, because it does allow you to hit so many targets at so many times. But it also takes away your own health, so you have to keep that in mind whenever you're low health. Gonna move on to the next one. This one's an interesting. The Crucible Sword. The Crucible Sword is an interesting sword, because its regular attack allows you to hit targets back while doing 38 damage. However, if I were to, even in the air, they're still going to get hit by it. And there's also a delay. Even if I were to swing and they walk towards me, it still has a chance of hitting. Its ability is a dash, which will boost you forward. This ability is better used while jumping, because compared to where this throws you, the one in the air, the boost in the air throws you a lot more farther compared to the one on the ground. When you do move, you're not invincible, because you can still take damage, as I will show right here. See? And you don't get any damage reduction, so you will still take damage. However, whenever you do swing, you cannot move. It will immediately keep you there, but there's a way around this. If I were to get something like... If I were to have wheelchair, you can easily move around while doing it with no penalty. This does allow you to get them stuck in the corner, and this is also why it's banned from certain game modes. Like, for instance, the wheelchair is banned from Loadout Picker because of this reason. Thanks by the developers. Which, shout out to the developers, by the way, if you're watching this. I love this game. Y'all made a good game. I'm going to move on to the next ones. This one's an interesting one. It's called the Dark Heart, and how this weapon works is every time you do damage, you get heals. You do 21, and then you heal a certain amount. The more hits you get, the more heals you get. its ability allows you to go into this little circle. It's a bit harder to see on this map because the ground is darker. So let me get up on this wall to show y'all better. So what it looks like. It looks like that. You are able to move extremely quick with this, and then once you find a target, you hit it, and you get 15 health back, plus 25 damage straight to them. Now, keep in mind, you can still take damage in this. This ain't a guarantee that you're not going to take damage. You will still take damage in this. So if you were, let's say, at 25 health, and you were to do this, you want to watch out for anybody that's going to still hit you, because you can still take damage while in it. Many people that sleep on this is if they're too far away and you know this is going to hit, but you still want to use it anyways, instead of using it for attack, you could just use it for offense. Well, not offense, but defense. Because of the fact that you can use it, cancel it, go back to it, but then it's going to stun lock you like this. And then how you really do it is you go back, you do it, cancel it as soon as the heart's about to break, which I did not do it. Let me do it again. It's a bit harder to see on this map. There we go. You do it as soon as the heart is about to break, and then you will be able to get out of it without being penalized and being locked in place. Once you are locked in place, you have to switch off of it and onto something else, or just switch back to it, and you'll be able to move again. Not many people know this. I like to call this skip walking with the or void walking, for instance, because this is very slept on. Because this weapon can be very maneuverable if used correctly, and not many people know that on this. Alright, next we got the Death Sickles. Death Sickles. There we go, I said it right. How this weapon works is it has an interesting range. Its ability has a left, right, over, because they both slash at the same time. Not that good range, you have to be very close for it. Its ability has two different modes here, but I'll discuss in just a minute. Its ability, what it allows, is a forward slash that will knock opponents back, but also do incredible damage upon hitting to 15. Compared to its regular damage, so it's 14. For sure, all 14. Its other ability combines it. This is a different mode. It has two different modes. You have the one when they're separated and then when they're together, like a staff-like. This one, of course, does more damage. I need to play with this mode more. I kind of sleep on this mode a lot, and I think other people do too. But this mode is very good. This is for when they're better used when they're fleeing or using ranged weapons. This is better for up-close combat, because it does not only more damage, but its ability does a spin scythe attack, which is 28, and knocks him back as well, which is very helpful for melee, because not only it disrupts them from attacking, it allows you to get a free hit too on damage, which makes it a positive trade for you compared to them. Now you are able to, I'm going to show a secret real quick, you are able to hit while also doing the ability straight after. There is a bit of delay, but other than that, yeah, this is how it works. Desert Wind. The Desert Wind has 3 abilities, and also its main attack is you do a tornado that will inflict 7 damage per hit, which is 3 ticks, so that's 21 damage per hit. It also gives a bit of knockback, depending on how much ticks you got. Its first ability, what it does is conjure up a tornado projectile. You can hold it, you cannot. Whenever you don't hold it, this will happen. And if you were to hold it, this tornado right here will give boost range to all and everything. All your ability, especially your third ability. It won't give you a boost the second, but it will give a boost to your third ability, allowing you to go way farther than usual. Which brings me to the third ability, because I'm going to do the second ability last. Your third ability is a kick, a flying kick. Does 30 damage knockback. You do take resistant damage when doing this, meaning you're going to take less. Your damage reduction does get reduced. So here's normal damage. Here's normal damage. Here's it while doing it. You get major hyper armor while doing it. Not many people again know about this, so it's definitely something not to sleep on. Because if they were to do a penguin missile and it were to hit you like a ballistic missile would in this, you can use that to nullify the damage without taking really any at all. I'm gonna showcase the first ability with the other ability, so you see the difference. You go way farther with the third whenever you have that tornado up. And of course, it does take you a bit of time to get it up, but once you do, it is very worth it to have it up because it gives you that boost. I'm pretty sure it also gives you a boost to regular... Yeah, it does give you a boost to regular attack. Here it is again. Makes you go way farther, makes you do way more damage, so this tornado, once you get this up to max, you want to have it. This thing will give you 2 different buffs depending on how you spend it. Now, you can only spend it on one. You can't do it on both, so you have to minimize which one you're going to do. Its second ability, let me get you over here, grabs an opponent. You have to physically grab them, and it shoves them to the ground, doing that much damage, as shown. Let me show it again. But let me do it at distance, because this is a up-close grab, meaning you have to hit them with it, regardless of where they are, for it to count. If you don't, it doesn't work. Unfortunately, it does not have... The tornado does not affect this ability at all. Unfortunately, but it will affect your other two. This is probably one of the most complicated weapons in the game that I've seen less people play around with because they don't understand its core mechanic. And it's just too much overwhelming for them. The Devilish Spear. Oh, this one's gonna be funny. So how this weapon works, it does 16 per hit, 16 damage every stab, but keep in mind this is a long stab. This is more of a medium range melee weapon because of how long it can stab from. It also has a very quick stab, so you are able to kill people faster depending on what weapons they are or they have. Its ability does a stabbing circle underneath the target that lunges up a spear that does 20 damage. It also stuns, like you just saw there. I'm gonna do it again so you see the stun. See that stun? However, there is a downside. Let me use my ult for this. Whenever doing this, if they were to jump, well, supposedly, if they're in the air, it won't do any damage. Let me... Get me that. Let me switch it off so I can show y'all. Cannot hit them whenever they're at a certain height with the spear, or else it just becomes completely useless. Also, whenever you move, it does make it to where you cannot move while doing the ability, but we have a solution for that. Just like the Crimson Sword, or the Crucible Sword, let me know if I'm pronouncing it right in the comments once I post this. You are able to teleport and then still be able to move while doing the ability. This is why it's really good with transmission or something like a roll, because then it allows you to do the ability while still moving and not keep yourself vulnerable. Because while you're doing this attack, you are vulnerable to everybody else. Alright, next we got the dive kick. The dive kick's a simple one. You just do a dive kick in the air, it does 24. If you don't jump, the game's going to automatically make you jump with this. So you might as well just hit X and jump, or whatever X is for you if you're playing on PC or Xbox. It does 24 damage per kick. And its ability does a combo of kicks that launches them in the air and does up to that amount of damage. If somebody wants to do the math for me. This is very good because this is a very long-range ability. And once again, this ability gets slept on. And then back in the old days, and I'm glad the developers fixed this. You could do it from range, and the third kick would still hit them, even though they're on the ground, because the hitbox was way bigger than it was supposed to be. You do have a benefit. Whatever you do the kick with this, you do like a little dive glide. So if I were to pair this with something like this, where I would go up in the air, you could do a slow dive glide down with the dive kick. Let me show it again. So anything that will make you jump, or like you would go into the air of something, that's how it's best used. Because then it allows you to get, as long as you hit them in the head or anywhere towards their upper part, it's a hit, no matter what. You can also do the same with this, but it's not really that good. But you could launch yourself towards them and do that instead, because it would be better. The door when that's what it's like literally called, which is weird. But anyways, how this works is you quite literally slam a door on them, and you are an ensign. Whenever you do this, you cannot move. You are able to spin around if you want, but other than that, you can't move. This does 70 damage and a bit of knockback. Well, actually, a lot more knockback than I thought it was. Which is huge. But unfortunately, you do have to eventually. It's like the other weapon, the Crucible sword. You do need something like, for instance, you can use instant transmission to be able to instantly move with the door while doing it, so that way you're not vulnerable to attacks.
Are you an ensign? Are you an ensign?
Simple as that. Nothing else to this door. Doesn't have an ability. The Dragon Slayer. This one's an interesting one because, once again, it's just like the Crucible. You can't move while swinging it. You swing it right to left, etc. It does 36 damage per hit. But again, it's not that mobility. In this, you want whatever weapons gives you the most mobility. But if you could get a heavy weapon while still having mobility, then you'll be able to do huge damage to get a lot of kills with it. Its ability does a jab forward, and as well, again, you take reduced damage while doing this jab. Here's taking normal damage, here's while doing the jab. Here's the jab whenever it hits an opponent. You grab them, do 10 damage, and then flip them to 20, and then knocks them on the ground. Do it again, so you can see how it works. If I were to do this, oh, didn't do it right. You do get more armor whenever you're doing this. I took like none damage right there at all. Wow. So that's how. Again, you just do the same things. Instant transmission, it allows you to move while swinging there or anything like that. There are other things to instant transmission. It's just that one's the most the most broken one with them, because your opponent's going to be completely caught off guard. You're going to be right here. You're going to immediately teleport up to them and hit them with it. They're not going to have time to react barely. That's why it's so strong. Also, you just saw it has an idle animation, which I did not know, and that's pretty cool. Whenever you're not doing something for a certain amount of time, your character just lays the sword down. Yep, there we go. You're not going to move. Which is pretty cool. Next, we got the dumbbell, and this is an interesting weapon because it has huge range, doing 31 inflicted damage upon hitting. However, it has a secret. Its ability allows you to add 1 charge to your damage. Meaning, I did 31, now I do 32. If I were to do, let's see, 3 more, I do 34 now. this stacks unlimited, meaning you could possibly one-shot somebody with this. Once you get past to 50 or at 50 and you hit your opponent, it will send them flying back with a stun effect, like shown right there. But that's once you get it up to that amount. You make sure it's 50. Guess it's not 38. Oh, I just did 38. I just did 10 charges. Okay, so I'm wrong. It's up to 40 and above, basically. So 10 more than you usually do on damage. Actually, it's 9 more charges, which actually is not that bad, because that's a steal, actually. But once you get up to 9 plus charges, it will do that, inflicting knockback and stun damage, which is huge. Other than that, that's all it has. Since it does have range as an overhead, you can do what you do with the bat. Any weapon that does an overhead attack, you can use like the bat, which is better for jumping. But if you have a weapon that goes left to right, it's better to move that way according to the weapon for more mobility. Next, we got the Epic Katana. This one swings left, right, overhead, with doing 14, 14, 20. The overhead does 6 more damage. So like I said, you want to move to the left, right, and then this forward overhead. You can do it in quick succession. It's like the samurai. I missed 2 of those. Its ability is a dash lunge, which does 22 on damage and throws them in the air for a brief amount of time, which could be technically a stun, because if they're caught off guard by it, they don't know what to do. However, you still will take damage, the maximum damage, while using the ability. We show right here. Right there. It's just highly unlikely to hit you with some of them because you're moving so fast, so. But you still can take damage still. Let me see if I can. This has no limits on how many people it can eat. Not eat, hit. Also got an evil one. That's cool. You can hit as many as you want. There's no limit. The only limit is once it runs out. There's also no limit to how many you can hit with the sword. On to the next weapon. I might actually knock them out. Well, here's what I do. I'll do all melee today, all range tomorrow, all specialist the next day. Next weapon is, we have the Falcon weapon. And this weapon's an interesting weapon because it has a right swing, an overhead, and that's it. Right, overhead. So usually you want to go to the right and just go back with the overhead with a jump. Its ability does a skyward lunge, where anything it hit you will sustain damage as well as knockback. But they won't receive any stun. It's only knockback specifically. Does 36 damage. Its regular swing does 20. So up to 40 damage plus the 36 if you get the lunge off. Now keep in mind, this ability is easy to miss, because even if you're right here, well, even if you're like this, it won't hit. It's very precise on where you have to hit them with this ability, because if they're moving around too much, then the chance of hitting this ability is not that good. It's better whenever they're walking towards you, because then they're walking straight into your ability. So usually this weapon's better for up-close combat when they have to come to you instead. But other than that, it has no other abilities. You could do a jump and do that to do extended reach of height with it, but other than that, it has no other purpose. Other than that, what I just explained. We got the fencing coil. The fencing coil is an interesting one. I am gonna have to get a hostile dummy spawn real quick, just to show how this weapon works. How this weapon works. Well, first, let me get rid of you. It does a left, right, swing, 22, 22, and then it does a forward swing, where it does like a piercing swing in a way. What you could do is use this for speed. If you're not fighting anybody, just swing twice and jump, then do it, because it does give you a bit more speed to get ahead. Because it's a lunge, it's a literal lunge, so it will allow you to get around more easily. Usually it's better to do it whenever you're fighting a opponent, to do a jump just before the third lunge. And of course, all of this takes time to practice. So if you want, you go into a private server and do practice there on each of these weapons that you want to master. But each weapon has a good and bad part of it to be hold of. Its ability is a complete stun from both melee and range. For melee, whenever they hit you while this ability is active, and you'll take no damage at all. You can also follow this up with your attacks afterwards when stunning. Can you not kill my ult, please? Stop that. Let me force field my ult so that doesn't happen again. And also, let me set on the next weapon. We show again? Really? Are you serious right now? Okay, hold up. This has no limit how many targets it can hit. But this also, I did say, it can also project against melee, it will just stun them, but against projectiles, it does something completely different. Instead, it will completely absorb projectiles and you'll take no damage at all. Even if it's something as deadly as the ballistic missile in this, which is like the penguin missile, you still won't take any damage. If timed right, even a blue shell won't kill you if you time this right, because you can parry the blue shell with this and take no damage because you'll just absorb the damage. Let me show it again. And then now let me show without the ability. See the difference? Once again, a lot of these weapon people sleep on, and that's definitely one of them, because they don't understand the parry mechanic. Fire Barb. Fire Barb's an interesting weapon because it does 25 plus burn damage, but it minuses one of your sword ticks. You have a certain amount of sword ticks, and every time you hit an opponent, it will make it shorter, meaning you're sacrificing your range for this damage. Now, its ability allows you to instantly regen its ticks, though. Typically, you want to keep this thing at a max of 5 to 6 ticks, if possible, usually 5. Because once you hit the target so many times, and that's what I don't like about this weapon, is you get so many down that range becomes an issue. See, well, I can no longer hit unless I do a lunge attack forward. Even then, I still can't hit him, because now I have to get super close for just this to hit. So let me regen them all. It does a right swing to a lunge swing. So what you could do is just... It apparently does an overhead, which I did not know. But yeah, usually the more hits you get, the less ticks this does, and the less range you're going to have on this weapon, leading to disadvantage against a lot of different weapons. But that's why you need to constantly replenish it, or else you're going to be suffering for a lot. Next, we got Firebrand Sword. This one's an interesting one because it does a lunge for a regular attack, just a lunge. Does 30 damage. Its ability gains you more speed, does 21 damage, so you've sacrificed 9 damage for burn damage. But instead of doing a constant lunge like this, once the ability gets back, your fighting style completely changes. You do a swing, overhead, swing, overhead. However, since you're so fast, it makes it easier to hit, because you go from 18 speed to 30 speed with the ability. Now, of course, like as you see, it doesn't stay active forever. However, it gives that nice boost, because if you already have something boosting your speed, this can give you another booster. See, because keep in mind, everything will stack in this. There's no limit to what can't stack. Meaning, if you were to have 2 of these swords and you activate both abilities, you're getting double speed. Now, the tick damage, you have to hit them both with fire damage. Like, you have to switch between both swords and get a hit on them for the burn damage to stack. But other than that, yeah, that's just how it works. Sometimes this weapon's better when not using the ability, because, like, if they're jumping around a lot, then you want to not use the ability. If they're not jumping around a lot, this is best to use because of the speed difference you get. You get off to about like 6 hits, 7 hits before it finally wears out, but by that time you're already done the damage. Next we got is the Freedom Punch, and this one's an interesting one because it's like the Crimson Sword, but this is a one-hit KO no matter what. You get locked in place and you do a instant hit that does 9,001 damage, which is a lot. But then again, you can't also move with this, so all they have to do is physically jump back and jump back while doing this, because as soon as this pops up, they can immediately jump back and start doing damage. Usually, I don't use the basic attack. I actually use this ability a whole lot more, because it recharges extremely quick and does decent damage. Its ability does a neat kick that does 36 damage as well as a pushback, because it launches them in the air and knocks them back. Now, as you can see, this only has up to like a 20-second cooldown, so this is very fast and kind of broken for 37 damage for an ability. So oh, 49. Oh, so it varies. Interesting. Does it vary on range? Yes, it varies on range. Okay, so the more closer you are, the more damage it will do. Oh, or is it random? It might be random. Not sure. But it can do a lot of damage for a ridiculous amount. Once again, you want to use stuff like the wheelchair or whatever weapons I use with the crucible to be able to help you move while doing this. You can also use something like freeze to lock them in place, but that's kind of banned from loadout picker from my understandings. And I know why. Because it's too powerful. Next weapon is we have the Galaxy. That's literally what it's called. The Galaxy Sword. And this one's an interesting one because it's not that high damage. It's this 12, 12, 12. It does a slash, slash, lunge. Its ability does a tornado effect wherever you caught them in the tornado. They cannot do anything. The tornado will physically stun them until it's over, because they can't do anything. They can't even really move that much either. You can also use it in the air to hover, because it does not allow you to hit the ground for a certain amount of time. Which, I don't think many people know that, especially. They know about the ability, they just don't know that you can use it. Kind of like in the ninja show, whenever they do air jitsu, you can quite literally just hover in the air with it for a bit. Its second ability is a ranged weapon. It does a kind of like a slash in a way. It's better to use from afar, because if you get too close, you're going to overshoot. Because you can only control where this is going to hit. You cannot move while doing it. So, and it does 20 damage. It also does a bit of pushback as well, as you just saw right there. So typically, you definitely still want to do it from afar, though. Its range is not perfect, because you still have to be like semi next to them for it to hit. But it's still not bad, and I keep missing. just like the first ability, you can use it in air to do a little bit of gliding, but as soon as it gets done, you're going to drop immediately, regardless. But the first ability is my personal favorite because you literally are just in the air with it if you want. Or you can just do it regularly, it doesn't matter. Ghost Walker! This one turns you semi-transparent. You still are able to see. I find many people make mistakes with this weapon. It's because they think they are completely invisible. You are not. I can still very much see you while you have the sword active. Its a damage is 25 because it does an overhead, then lunge. It allows you, the main gimmick of this is, even though, yes, you're still transparent and they can still see you, is you have a super jump. This allows you to jump way higher than normal. Now, unfortunately, you do keep the same speed, unfortunately, it looks like. However, what I like to do sometimes with this weapon is I like to jump on top of my opponents, drop immediately, and just hit them with the weapon. I like to just get rid of it as soon as I get to a certain height, go back to it as I'm at the ground. Because this will confuse them. This weapon is better. Hello, Lord the King 1. This weapon is better on dark maps, like this map, for example, because then it makes it harder for them to see you. Whenever you're jumping up, if there's a cloud, it also makes it harder to see you because you blend in with the cloud. There is this one funny time where I was facing somebody with this weapon, and I got them down to 20 health, but then they jumped up and it went into the sky. Not necessarily like directly into it, but like they blended in with it, and I lost complete track of where they went. And as such, I didn't get to kill them because they never came back to fight me fully. And they managed to get away. Thanks. There's not really anything else about the sword. Y'all probably make people just need to experiment what weapons this thing goes best with. But there's not anything else. Next we have is the Gloom Sword, and this one's an interesting one because every hit you lose health, but you do 34 damage. Now, you lose max HP, not your original health. Let me make that clear. You will slowly, as you're hitting targets, lose your max XP and start to go down in health. But you still do 34. And give myself some more health. Doubling health. This weapon has massive range too, because it's a slide. It's left, right, swing. Meaning you could just use it to go like this and then double back like this to really mess them up. It also works in air, but all the weapons work in air. You just gotta hit them right. But as you see, it stops at 40, and then you actually start to take actual damage. I'm playing this right now. I'm doing the tutorial on how these weapons work. So I see nobody has made a video on how each of these weapons work, from my understanding, as well as every time I do play against random people, I see they don't know how to use the weapon correctly every time, and they either get themselves killed with it, or they just don't use it to its max potential. Next weapon is the Golden Frying Pan. This one's an interesting one because it does 33 damage, has no abilities, and it does an overhead swing. It also has a special kill whenever you kill something with it. It has a special death. Turns them into gold whenever you kill somebody with it, which is kind of cool. Other than that, it's not really special. This one's just straightforward. Just use the most out of the overhead swing, like I did with the baseball bat earlier or something like that. There are different fighting styles, but that's how you choose to fight. Next we have is the Hammer Thrower. You grab your opponent, you fling them. If it hits a wall, you do... Originally, the grab does 15 damage. If they hit a wall, 20 damage, plus they bounce off and get stunned. This weapon is hugely effective whenever you're in an environment with a lot of walls. Or you could do what you did with the charger earlier. You could use that, but keep in mind, it is completely random on which way they get flung. You cannot predict which way they're going to get flung. So, instead is, you're going to want to use the enclosed wall ability that will put up a wall all around you, and then use it, because it's guaranteed to do that damage. Now, this can only hit one target at a time, meaning this is going to leave you vulnerable to anybody else, but there is good news for that. Whenever there is somebody, if I can get it right, you will do 12 damage and hit them back whenever you have somebody already grabbed and somebody goes up near you, regardless of where they go up near you. Let me show it again. Preference. The 12 does knockback as well. This ability, that is slept on by a lot. I know that for a fact. And that's it for that one. Next we got is the Hulk hands, and this one's an interesting one because its ability is the interesting one part about it. How this one works is first attack does a punch, 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 3 punches. It does 25 per damage, so you could 4 tap or 5 tap somebody with this. Its ability does a ground slam. But there's something special about this ground slam. You cannot move while doing it. But if you were to, let's say, do this while doing the ground slam in midair, you're going to instantly shoot down to the ground and do the slam, which you can use to catch people off guard. However, it changes once you do teleport, because you will immediately teleport back to where you're doing the slam. The game, how it works, it will register where you're doing the slam, and no matter where you go, it will instantly teleport you back to the slam. So what you could do is use this to trick people, what I like to do. I like to call this the Hulk trickster, because you do the slam, and then do teleport. Oh, well, you do teleport first in the slam. And how it works is, they're going to think you're teleporting away, but you're not. You're actually going to be doing the ground slam directly back on top of them by the time, because you're going to teleport there, it's going to teleport you back here to do the slam. Kind of like a checkpoint in a way. Show again. It's an interesting mechanic. I love this mechanic. I hope they don't remove this mechanic, because it definitely brings some times where it can get you killed, but at the same time, it won't probably get you killed. But it still has times where it can, because you don't get reducted damage while doing the slam. You still will take max damage while doing the slam. Let me show an example. See? Max damage. You do not get a reduction to damage, regardless. On to the next weapon. We have the Human Thunder. I'm gonna get the jump back, because this actually goes well perfect with it. And I like what they did. Originally, it's not this. They changed it to Christmas. Christmas coming around, they changed it to this, but they're going to change it back once Christmas is over, knowing them. So, but how it works is it does 14, 14. Your third hit will send you up in the air, which does stun. Each hit does stun, by the way. It doesn't show it, but it does a slight stun duration to where your opponent can't do physically anything while being hit by it. That's why this weapon is dangerous when coming to close combat sometimes. Its ability does a ground slam that does 20 damage and a stun. It also does a bit of knockback, but not that much. It's better used, instead of having to rely on the third attack to launch yourself in the air, you could get a jump charge and just do a ground slam with it instead. Usually that's a cheap way to kill opponents, usually, or just use it to throw them off guard. I don't like it when people spam this, though, because it's easily, all they have to do is just stay in the air and keep doing it over and over. It gets annoying once in a while if they keep spamming it. So, you are not invincible, though, while doing the slam. You still take damage, though, like all the other things. Show an example of me taking damage. Still take damage. gaining armor reduction. But what you want is to always get this ability off as soon as possible, because it does so much. It's not the damage, it's the stun. The stun does so much, more than the damage, matter of fact. The hurricane kick. Oh, this one's interesting. So you do a little spin, and as you touch a enemy, you do 9 damage per hit for touch. As long per tick you're near them. I like to call it a tick because technically it is a tick. Now, what you could do is, if you were to, let's say, if I were to get stuck in this corner, look at the damage. But you can still take melee damage. You just can't take range damage because this will reflect all range attacks, like it did right there. It will reflect range. Not many people know this will reflect range, and so I find a lot of people getting themselves killed because they don't know how this works. This can also redeflect the penguin missile, and I don't think people know that because that is very cool that it can reflect that. I had a time where I did use a deflect. Let me show an example of that too while I'm at it. I gave myself it by accident, so I'm going to use it on the test dummy. Let me show. Now, unfortunately, I did take that damage because I was so close, but if you were from afar, that will immediately shoot back towards the person that shot at you to begin with. Its ability does a kick that does 18 damage and stuns and knocks him back. Now, this ability does recharge very fast, 45 seconds to recharge, but other than that, it's not that bad. It's better to use whenever you get them up against the wall and all they know how to use is range, because then you can just keep grinding on them with it. You can jump with this, but you can't freely move. Unless there is, I recently learned a way you can freely move with it, but it's weird, if I had to say it. But I'm still going to show. If I can get the right thing, where is it? There it is. What's up? So what you could do is teleport with this. I can't remember. There's one thing in particular. There's a way to break this to where, because the UI, how it works is, it wants you to move forward while doing this. But there is a way to break it to where you won't move forward, and instead you'll just keep doing this instead, without moving forward, if you can picture it. I haven't really figured out how to do it again. I have done it like up to 3 times over the years, but haven't figured out why or how that part works yet. I'm still trying to figure out how to do it. Hello. You have a long username, by the way. Like, that is the longest YouTube username I've ever seen in my life. Oh my, oh me ma, me ma, oh my gosh. After this, yeah. Right now I'm doing a tutorial for this game. For Random Rumble. On how each weapon works. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, when doing the hurricane kick, you still take melee damage. Hello. So I like Yikuji. Oh, I love this weapon. You can move while doing this weapon. It does 50 damage and knockback. The hitbox is ridiculous on this, because you can jump while still hitting them with it. Sure. This weapon is very strong. Ridiculously strong. Because all it takes is 2 hits and they're dead. As long as they don't heal in time. They heal in time, you're gonna have to hit them with something else to kill them. Or just hit them a 3rd time with it. I will do another one of these for the maps as well. Because I might as well Because some people I don't think know about each map and what's the purpose of them. It's just the map's gonna take longer though. But that's fine. This one's self-explanatory. There's nothing really to tell about this other than 50 damage and stun, and a lot of knockback because you fling them. But that's kind of it. There's not anything else to it. It has no abilities or anything like that. The Ice Dagger. This one's an interesting one. Because you do 3 different... oh, wow, no, it's only 2. So you do overhead swing and a slash. However, this has... every hit, this has a chance to freeze. Now, for a regular attack, it's minimum. So you saw it froze right there. Once they're frozen, they can't do anything, which allows you to do a lot. Its ability sends out 3 ice shards, which can hit opponents in a lot of places. Each ice shard does 7 damage, meaning if you were to get close enough, you could do 21 damage with ice shards. What I like to do is run this with Frost Breath, because then you permanently lock them in place, because as soon as they get out of the Frost Breath, you can just immediately freeze them back with this. The ice shards are a guaranteed instant freeze, meaning if I were to put 3 AIs right here, and I were to hit all 3 of them, I did not hit them. You are able to hit all 3. This has unlimited pierce, I believe. We're going to test that real quick. Oh, it might not have unlimited pierce. Hold on. Okay, it doesn't have unlimited pierce. You can only hit 1 target at a time with it, which I did not know. But that's interesting. It's called Random Rumble. Next weapon is called the Illuminati sword, which is interesting. The sword has no ability, but on the second it has an overhead, and it has a lunge attack, which will send you a bit lunging forward. I like to do is jump on the second one, because then it gives you that mobility. However, there is a way you can maximize this weapon while also using that speed. Because if you were to time it right, which I did not time it right there, you could do that where you would go slightly off the ground and still hit them with the lunge attack. Just over slightly. It's a very handy weapon. This is very good range weapon. It's not bad by any circumstances. I will post a tier list on what weapons I think is the best and which ones I think are the worst compared to others for some time this week, depending. But other than that, there's nothing else about the weapon. The Immortal Scythe Reborn. This one's an interesting one, because this one all depends on how many times you hit your opponent. Because how this weapon works, you hit your opponent, and it starts to quite literally steal their life points. This does heal you a bit, but it's not as much. It's better, the more hits you get, the more it stacks, and the more life points you will take, and the more you will heal. You can charge this up, which let me show. Let me show the difference between not charge and charge. Here's the difference between charge. And here's not the difference. No, wait, hold on. Oh. There is no difference. That's weird. Thought there was a difference. Oh, no, there is a difference. I just keep doing it late. Okay, so you have to do it as soon as the ball on the scythe, like, blinks out like that. If you don't do it and you just hold it until after, it's just going to do 3 damage. But if you were to hold it like that, and if you were to do it again, so it's timed. The tick is timed. If you do it on the first, it goes from 3 from the first hit without charging it. The first charge tick does 4 damage. The second charge tick, which is the hardest one of them all, does 6 damage. However, it won't really matter because you can hit multiple with this. See, you can basically outlet any damage by then, just by hitting it with this. The more you hit them, the more damage stacks, so this weapon is best used when hitting them a lot. There is a counter towards this weapon, though. If I were to walk away, it disappears. The effect will disappear. This weapon, the damage, your tether will disappear depending on how far your opponent walks away. It's all about range. It does have a range limit of when it will disappear, like I'm showing right here. So you want to stay as close as possible without getting hurt with this weapon, while still keeping it on them. Here's what it looks like with 3 ticks, 4, 5, you name it. It still does a lot of damage and can heal you a lot. We got next weapon is the imposter knife, which, like it said, it's an imposter knife. You get close, you teleport near them, do 22 damage. Oh, you teleport directly behind them. Interesting. I thought it was anywhere. You do 22 damage. This bot is being weird. Yeah, there we go. 22 damage per stab. You will automatically teleport behind them, so you do have to be careful with this weapon. What I like to do is run up towards them, do this, and then jump while doing the damage, if it will do it. Like that, so that way you're not going to get hit by anything. It's just a way to do damage without you getting hit. Its ability is a projectile, meaning this can be parried, so be cautious when using this. It shoots a bullet that does 10 damage per hit, but it has a 15-second cooldown. And we show what happens when it gets parried. Because not many people know how to play this game, and I wanted to do a tutorial on it. And plus, not many people, haven't seen a single YouTuber do a tutorial on this game. So, oh, I gotta get rid of the shield. Hold up. Force field, I gotta do it. Undo it. There we go. I kind of find it funny that it elongates the bullet. In a way. So that does count as projectile, so do be careful whenever they have anti-projectile. Alright. Let me gather my money real quick while I'm doing this. I never gathered all this stuff. Okay, let's see. What weapon do we have next? We have the inhaler. And that's quite literally what it's called, the inhaler. The inhaler is pretty standardary. You suck them in and do 75 damage, and they turn to star, and then turn back to their normal character. This thing you saw, I can't really move much at all with this, so it's better to use something like the wheelchair to help you move around more easily. There's just one issue. While moving around with the wheelchair, your hitbox will become completely different. Because on this, all it takes for them is to lightly touch you, and they get turned into it. But with the wheelchairs, you have to physically go through them for it to actually do damage. Because it won't pull them in anymore. You're sacrificing movement for not pulling them in anymore. Just like some of the other weapons, this does do projectile reflect as well. Oh, I did it late. Let me do it again. Showcase. This will throw projectiles back at your opponent and do damage back to them instead of you. This has no limit at how many it can take. For example, right there, has no limit. It's unlimited pierce. And pretty well damaged. I used to use this combo with the flare gun back in the day when it was more broken. So 75. His flare gun would instantly finish them off regardless. Next weapon is the Ivy Keldler. I'm very much saying that right. I don't know how to pronounce that, But basically, it's just a giant club, and it has 4 different modes. Welcome back. Its first mode does a ground slam that does 38 damage, does a bit of knockback. That's a steel mode. This is the mode I mostly use, because it does 38 damage plus burn damage. I will stop that after this. How it works is a ranged melee weapon. So if you were to swing right here, somebody could easily kill you from behind, and you basically won't be able to do anything because of it. So you definitely want to be careful with this weapon on usage. Its next one is the well springs. 38 damage, bit of knockback. Counterstone. 38 damage, but it leaves these stones in the ground, which I think block people's paths as well as block projectiles. If I'm right, we can test this theory. If I were to get rid of you, I'm gonna do it here. It wait, did it? I can't tell. Oh no, the stones actually give you hyper armor. Okay, that's interesting. I never knew that. Tail is the basic. What does this do then? Maybe it's anti-projectile block, maybe. Let's try it. The fencing core from earlier that I covered. No, it isn't. I'm not sure what the use of this one is. For the well springs. We know this one gives you hyper armor, because these stones make you take less damage. Yeah, the flame one does burn damage. But I don't know what the wellspring does. I'm trying to figure that one out. And maybe it's based off multiple. Let me try multiple. No? Maybe it does more damage the closer they are up. Nope. I think it's the knockback. It does more knockback than slightly more knockback. Seems. That's its 4 different modes. I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to ask the developers if I can what the first mode as well as the spring mode does, because I'm not sure. But I'm definitely going to be using this mode a lot more because of that hyper armor you get from projectiles. Is it only from projectiles? Let's find out. No, don't attack my... Oh no, it's also for melee. Okay, so it's all. You take less damage with it for all. I did not know that. That's interesting. But that's actually pretty good. That's actually pretty powerful in my opinion. Because if somebody uses the penguin missile and it's about to kill you, all you gotta do is hit the ground with it and you'll live. Because it'll do barely any damage. Interesting. Okay. We got the Judge. The weapon is called the Judge. And this one's pretty interesting because it has no... I spawned a hostile. It has no interesting ability. It just has... You just hit them. As you saw right there, it took my health and did 19 damage. That's one of the hits it can do. It can do a frost hit like there where it stuns. It can do a fire hit like there and does not back, where it just flings them and does a bit of burn damage. Does that, where it does 24. Does that, where it does 28. It does electric attack, which does, like, I think 3/8 tick damage, I'm pretty sure. You did that one. I'm trying to get the other one, because there's an epic one you can do. There's a leak one that drops you heals. There we go, that's the one I want to show. That one's the most powerful one. That one will send your opponent flying and do major damage. It's almost as powerful as the Freedom Punch, basically. But more mobile. Literally. I like this one, though, because it gives you heals whenever you're down low. But all these effects are completely random. So this weapon is kind of like an RNG weapon in a way. You can also see which one you're going to get based off the numbers you get. 8 will be the freeze. 5 will be that one. 7, I think that said 7, will be that one. Once again, got the 8. 4 will be that one. 2 will be the electric shock. I'm trying to see if I can get any of the other ones. Kind of rare to get any of the other ones. Nope. 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 That's well, look, what was that, 9? That looked like the 9. So the based on what number you get is the based on which one of those you're going to get. I am going to post a spreadsheet of which one you're going to get. So that way you know. For future references. Other than that, we're moving on. Killer Queen. This one's an interesting one because one of its abilities is passive. It's a roll. You have a roll ability, and then you have a bomb attachment ability where you will attach a bomb to your opponent and you can detonate it any time, and it does 25 damage. You grab the basic attack, does 5 damage. You grab them and does 20. It does knockback. And as you saw, it's better to jump while on the second part of it because then you send them flying. You can grab them anyway. You could do a roll, then grab them, then that. Or what you could do is do a roll, catch a bomb, do this, grab them, do that, then explode the bomb. It's a standard weapon. This one's not that hard to master. Mostly because it just revolves you grabbing them, but be aware you still could be parried by the fencing coil with this attack. So it's definitely still something to watch out for. Large pencil is an interesting one. Because you do a slide swing as well as a jab. Does 24 damage per hit. It's the mode of the weapon, but yeah. I'm not sure what it does. I tried using its opponents. I tried using it against range, or using range against myself with it. It just didn't really do anything. It's weird. But we're on to the large pencil now. I'm going to show you how the pencil works. There's 24 per swing. There's a swing to the right, then a jab to the forward. So it's very helpful. It does a cool little pattern where whenever you move your cursor around, oh look, I made a perfect circle. It traces a little outline of where your pencil hitbox is supposed to be, I guess. This is actually pretty cool. You make it like a little... I made it look a little ring. It's a pencil. Its ability summons a book that, whenever it closes, does 35 damage, but this book has a hidden meaning. This book can block everything, from projectiles to melee damage, and you won't take any damage. Let me time it better there, so that way. Yeah, you could. Even when this book does soak up damage, you could still do damage by getting next to him and hitting him with it to do 35 damage to the book close. I know for a fact this weapon is mostly slept on, because people just don't know how the book works at all. But I'm glad I'm doing this video, because then I get to show how this stuff works. Next weapon is the Link Sword. This is a standard weapon. They also changed it to look more Christmassy, in a way. Its ability is a lunge that does 27 damage. Knowledge is very much his power. You can still do the lunge in the air and do like a cool wherever you like lunge to their head in a way. And still hit them. I didn't do it right. I didn't do it right again. There we go. Now I did it right. It does overhead for this regular attack, and then a side swipe. Why can I hurt him? Oh, you have to be very close. The range is terrible. Wow. But you do 27 per hit. 27 for the 16-second lunge cooldown per lunge. That weapon's pretty standard. There's not really. It's not a complicated weapon. This one is though. The marker sword. It's an interesting one. This is one of the weapons that has the most range. Correct, but you're gonna lose to a person that has this weapon against the Link sword. Probably, most likely, because you can't win against them with range. You have to switch up your strategy. This weapon, the Markster sword, does 24 damage per hit. It does a forward jab and then an overhead. Its ability sends off a piece of the staff. I wouldn't call this a sword, and more call this a staff. But it sends off a piece that does 8 damage per hit. But every time you do this, you're making your weapon smaller. Over time, this will regenerate, so you don't have to press a button to regenerate. It automatically will regenerate after a certain amount of time. I have used this ability multiple times to try to snipe people that have low health, because that's usually all you want to use it for during time. Its range is very strong compared to other weapons that just does not have that range capacity compared to other weapons. But that's probably why it does only 24 damage, which is not that bad damage. And then once you get to low, just use the range on them. This is a parry, by the way. This can be parried because it counts as a projectile. So this can easily be parried back towards you by anything. Like, for instance, if I were to go crazy... No, it doesn't affect the marble? Interesting, I did not know that. See right there, reflected, and the second one hit him. This is counts projectile, so do be careful with it, whoever you're hitting it with. On to the next weapon. We got the Master Sword, and this one's interesting because I'm going to need a jump charge for this to get the best value out of it. This weapon has a big AoE. It does 18, 7, 18, and then 26 on the swing, like on the full range swing. However, this has a hidden ability when you're in the air. Oh, it also throws a projectile, but like all the other projectiles, this can be easily thrown back at you. Like that, and it actually stuns you, unlike other projectiles. So it's actually, that staff is actually a hard counter. Its ability does a 3-tick charge for a swing attack. Depending on which one you use, because you can activate it early, the first one does 14 damage and a slight bit of knockback. The second one does a bit more. It does 2 14 damage ticks, as well as a stun with a slightly more bigger knockback. The third does 2 18s, as well as a stun, but lesser knockback, from the looks of it. But this does have a hidden ability once you're in the air. If you're in the air, depending on how high you fall, the more higher up you fall, the bigger the radius is. But you do a ground slam that does 21 damage, and if you do it from that high, it's little. But if you were to do it from really high up, like here, the radius increases to 21. And of course, you also have a chance to get a critical if you hit particularly right on top of them in a certain way. I'm trying to figure out how I did that one. I think you have to hit direct. Yeah, you have to hit directly in front of them. And that sliver of gap right here, you have to hit them, you'll get the critical. Of course, you can do the ability in the air. You're just going to fall down and keep charging. You are still vulnerable while doing this attack. Meaning you will still take damage. So let me show. You do not get hyper armor, meaning somebody could kill you while you're doing this. That's why this ability is more of a gamble than it is to do actual damage. You also have a chance not to do the range, but eventually you will get the range, eventually if you swing enough. But like I said earlier, this can easily be shot back at you and used against you, so be careful with it. Next weapon is the Nolan Might, which is basically an axe. It's a blood axe. How this works is you have up to 5, yeah, 5 blood ticks you can inflict on your opponents. The damage differentiates from how many times you hit them. So I'm gonna go hit each one according, and you'll see the damage. Oh, I didn't mean to hit you. There's a lot. Here's 1 tick. You do 8 damage per hit. It does 1 tick of damage. You hit him again. Does 2 tick of damage. You hit him again. 3 tick. The amount of blood there is on them, that's how much tick of damage it will do per hit. Or per tick, I should say, actually. And once you get up to 5, of course you'll be doing 5 tick. I'm going to do all the melee ones today, and I'll do all the range ones tomorrow, then all the special ones tomorrow, and then I'll do the maps the next day. You have your first ability is a swing attack, where this can hit multiple. I'm going to showcase it. The goal of this weapon is to get up to 5 blood tick as soon as possible. This can help with that, because this will automatically put 1 tick, or apparently no tick onto them. I think it corresponds with the amount. Oh, so it doubles. Okay, so I'm wrong. It doubles the amount of ticks that's already on them. For instance, if I were to put 1 on this, it's going to double. Oh, no, it just adds 3. So if I do this... Okay, so it adds 3 ticks automatically. That's interesting. So then let's spawn a bunch of these. If I were to do this, hit them twice, but it always has to be a tick on them for it to work. It also heals you a bit, as you saw there. Excuse me. And you do a bit of damage to myself. Yeah. You can get my thing on it, and then let me do a spin attack. It will heal you up. This doesn't have... It has unlimited pierce. There's no limit on how many you can pierce with it. And obviously, the more you hit with it, the better, because then you're also healing at the same time. Its second ability, you need to have all 5 ticks, because then the symbol will appear above your head, and what you will do is you look at the opponent, you will do a lunge attack. This will put them in a stun lock position completely to where they cannot do anything, and it will do a stun right after. As soon as you do this. Does 30 damage. It's not that bad. It also makes you stronger. You have 2 phases. The phase is when you don't have any ticks on yourself. But then as soon as you start getting ticks on them, you will become stronger. And you can instantly put 5 ticks onto another opponent, basically. As you saw right there, it was instant. Like that. You're Goku, literally. It also works with the spin attack, so let me showcase that. Always I thought it worked with it. Well, it doesn't really matter, because you're already putting maximum tick damage on them, and then you just use the ability again. Not that many left. I definitely made a dent. Next, we got the Pepper Hammer. Which this one's, this people I see use this weapon so wrong so many times. The goal of this weapon is to get it up towards the star, because then you're doing the maximum amount of damage. And of course, for some reason, it's not working on you, so I have to use you. You want to get it up to star, because star does max damage. 35 has unlimited amount of pierce, so you have many targets. You want to hit right next to them. You don't want to hit directly on them like I was showing earlier, like that. Because then it won't do any actual damage. You hit directly on top of them, you're only doing 20 damage, compared to the 35 you could keep getting, or sometimes even just 10 damage from just hitting from the side. Here's his other 2 forms of damage. I can't get the first one. There we go. Oh, I didn't get it right though. But that's how... The higher you get, as soon as you get to start, the more damage. You are able to move around while doing this, and I see people not do that. For some reason, they think they have to stay still while doing it. That is not the case. You can easily move around and do damage with this still. Next weapon is Paracel. Now, this one's an interesting one because people use the ability wrong a lot of times because the ability has a hidden mechanic nobody knows about. Oh, I gotta do a little emote for my ult. There we go. This umbrella has a lunge attack that will push opponents back and do up to 14 to 5 damage, which is 19. Its ability does a lunge forward that will you can still move while doing the regular attack, but its lunge you cannot really because it makes you go forward. This weapon is huge in air because you just go forward with it. It also allows you to glide. You can glide with this as safety. Because you slowly fall. You can also do the attack while still in midair. It won't matter because you'll still be gliding. Just whenever you do a regular attack, you will fall a bit because it has to do it. And then same thing with that, but you kind of catch yourself a bit, so it's not that bad. You could permanently stay in the air in this if you time your jump charges with the umbrella, in a way. Its ability, though, this is the interesting hidden mechanic it has. Your ability can reflect projectiles. Like as shown right there. It does have the ability to throw back projectiles. And not many people know about this, and not many people use it against you. So if there was a penguin rocket, you could reflect the penguin rocket by just doing the lunge attack. Throw it again. It's a nice reflect ability that adds onto this weapon. This weapon was beautifully made into the game. Definitely one of the cooler ones. I definitely love using. Next weapon is the Phantom Dagger. This one's an interesting one. It's a very fast weapon. 15 damage per hit. You swing left to right repeatedly. Oh no, I still have like a couple weapons out of this. Its first ability is I'm pretty sure this is a projectile. Let me double check to make sure this is real quick. No, it isn't projectile. Okay, so it throws like, I guess there's two different projectiles in this. But basically, it throws unblockable or unparryable projectile at your opponent. And depending on how you throw it, it can go far or not far, because you throw in front of you and it slowly goes down to the ground. But if you jump, you can extend the amount of time it goes. So it's better to jump whenever they're longer away with it. Once it hits, it will do 6 damage start and then do 2 tick damage. Its next ability is a parry. Or immediately throw your opponent back and do some damage as well as stun. This can also block projectiles. Although it's not recommended because you don't do any damage back to them, though. Compared to other stuff. But it is a nice little counter towards things like the Penguin Missile and such. Next, we got the Pirate Mace. This one is just like the Crimson Sword. You want to get up, but this thing's... If you don't hit directly and you hit the ground from it, it's going to do 15. But if you get a direct hit... Why? Okay, well, you just saw it. It does 30 damage per direct hit and a bit of stun damage. It does a stun. A lot. Why? The game wants to let me hit that guy. Right there, it did stun. You do 40 damage if you hit him directly with it. It's very handy. It's a very OP weapon. I'm gonna do something real quick. There we go. I'm gonna do it on this, since apparently the game does not like me doing it. Usually you want to do this with something that allows you to move with the, like what the Crimson Sword does. Just to allow you to do better with this weapon. I don't know why, but for some reason it's not allowing me to... Oh, the hitbox is very small, that's why. So you have to be like right up next to them to do it. Man. But that's that weapon. Next is the pickaxe sword, which, yes, it's a literal pickaxe from Minecraft they added. And this one's self-explanatory. You just run up and just start. I like to call this the chainsaw, because the more you hit them, and if you do a jump, you can do a crit. It's literally like a chainsaw. Like, you get melted if somebody's jumping up at you with this thing. That's why I call it the chainsaw. Very powerful. Its ability is a block. It's a one-time block. You block one hit. "10-second cooldown." You block one hit. This could be from literally anything. This could even go count towards melee damage, even. Like, if I were to walk up, I block it. Hit it again. I block it. Hit it with the staff. I block one of the attacks, but the other ones break through. Because the block can only protect you against one hit, not multiple. If I were to do something like this, then the block stands no chance, because that just rips right through the block, regardless. Next is the Psycho Cane. Interesting name, yes, I know. I'm gonna need the jump for this, because it has a hidden ability in the air that, again, nobody knows about. And that's why I love covering these things. Its first ability sends out a projectile ball that cannot be parried. And once it hits a target, it will inflict that much damage, and it has a chance, apparently, to throw him back. No, it's not even close to the last. Like I said, you can't reflect it. It cannot be reflected. Its first attack is a spike cane from the front, and then you do a ground attack from the bottom, from afar, that spikes up towards them. Here it is again, and here it is the third time. Now, there is a way to trigger only the first attack. You just, whenever you're in the air, you can only do the first attack in the air. You cannot do the second attack. Meaning, what you could do is to catch your opponent off time. If they love being close to you so much, just do one jump, do another jump, do another jump, and you'll always do the first attack, regardless of where you are in the air. As long as you're off the ground, you cannot do the second attack. Even if I were to do it on the ground, you still can't do it. See? And as soon as you get to the ground, you will do it. The second ability is a parry. If I were to do this, it will automatically absorb it and parry the user. Then it will do 25 damage upon inflicting on the target that hit you during the parry. This can go for both melee and range. It doesn't matter what it is, it will parry. Like you've seen there, it will parry regardless. You cannot move while doing this unless you do something like instant transmission or something like that that will allow you to move while doing it. You need one of your speedy things that you get to be able to move while doing this. Of course, if you jump, it depends on where you last released it. It will go that way regardless of height. Let me show the parry again for people. There we go, that's the parry, and then watch the 25 damage. It also stuns. So what I also like, let me show this real quick. What I like to do with the stun, with the parry, is do this. Let them hit me, and then as soon as I get that done, send this out immediately. And you get this little damage combo of both of them doing 25 as well as the projectile ability doing massive damage. Next is the rig table, which I kind of like that name. It's kind of funny. How this works is its attack is a forward lunge with the table. It does 32 damage, not bad. You still can take damage while people hit you, though, so you have to be careful with that. Let me show an example. See, you still take max damage. Its ability is you set down a table and you literally throw it at them. It would stun them as well as, depending on how the table hits them, they could be thrown back by it by a lot, depending. Like seen right there. One of the funny things I find hilarious is once you get it up to a wall, it will immediately shoot up like that. Table for one. Literally. That's funny. You are not able to really move. You can still jump, but you're not able to move. There is a way to ride the table, which kind of sounds weird. If you get onto it, you can sometimes ride it if you want, but that's kind of weird. You're most likely not even going to stay on because of how much it flips and turns. What you could do is you can change the direction if you want. There's no limit to where you throw it. The place you're looking is where the table is going to go. So if I were to do this, you throw it that way instead. It depends on where you're looking. That's where it's going to get thrown. What you could do is do instant transmission, then do this, and then confuse your opponent. Because you get the deciding factor of which way this table goes. One time I had an opponent going off to my left, and he thought this was just going to go straight, so I turned it, and it hit him right in the face. And I laughed about it because it was kind of funny. You determine when a table goes just by looking. It's not a straight path that you can choose. It's only a straight path once you do throw it, because then it'll travel in that path in a direct line. Next, we have the reflector, and this one is so overslept on. Holy cow. This one has a dash ability, where it allows you to dash and do 20 damage upon impact. You are able to jump and do it if you want. However, this thing, once you get up close, you do 10 damage, and this momentarily stuns them. It's like a taser in real life. This one momentarily stun them, but you can still take damage. Like when we show here. You still take damage while it's still doing it. Oh, it seems like it became invincible for a minute there. Its ability, its passive, this does have a passive ability. It allows you to reflect projectiles, which not many people know. As you saw right there, I poorly timed it. You can block some projectiles. It's not the best, but it's something. Welcome back. Oh, nope, wrong one. I gave it to the wrong person. I want to show a better case of how this can be used. That's a better use of it. It is able to throw back projectiles. You could, this is good. This is very hard for people to do. I can understand if you don't get it. You could use it to parry back a penguin missile if timed correctly. It has to be timed correctly. If you don't time it correctly, you're going to waste doing the attack, and it's just going to hit you directly. We're on to our last few weapons now. There's not many left after this. Next is the Riggy. Nope, no, that's the spatula. That's the wrong one. I'll come back to you, spatula. I'm not ready for you yet. Oh, I hate that glitch. There's also a glitch where you put stuff in your inventory. It doesn't allow you to switch off of it till you get it back out. The Riggy is pretty simple. It does 22 per damage. You do a backswing then overhead. It's not that really bad. Its ability, you ride on a skateboard, hit a target, do 16 damage. However, the skateboard has a hidden ability nobody knows about. You could use it if you hit X. It does give you a jump boost. If I can do it right. There we go. It allows you to get higher up in the air. And not many people know about that. You could also skim the top of the person you're trying to kill with the skateboard and still get the boost. You just gotta do it right, like I'm not doing. Because this weapon is kind of hard to do it. So that's this. There's nothing else about this weapon. It's pretty sanitary. Just keep in mind that extra jump boost you get from it. With the ability. Next is self-destruct. This one's pretty simple. You quite literally self-destruct on a target. You do up to 60 damage, but you also lose up to 40 HP. You also, while this is active, originally when you switch this, you get a 4% speed boost, but then as soon as you activate it, you actually get an 8% speed boost more as well, so you're more faster. This is to ensure that you can hit the target more easily, because all you gotta do is get next to him. You do 60 damage. The respawn point or other stuff that made you invincible was very broken with this, because then you could just run up and keep bombing them regardless of what your health is. But they got removed in Loadout Picker game mode. Next is the spatula. It doesn't have an ability, but it does have a passive ability. Whenever you hit a target, you would make a burger. SpongeBob burger. Each burger will heal you every 22, 19. It's random. You can farm these off a dead... Well, once you take somebody out, you can keep hitting them while they're dead. Let me showcase that so that way you can see what I'm talking about. Of course, you have unlimited hits. You can still hit him while he's dead and still get more. Nothing changed about that. Other people are able to heal off of it, so you're not the only one. I want to do something funny real quick. As a show, unlimited Pierce. Cheeseburger. These do disappear after a certain amount of time. But other than that, there's nothing else about the weapon. That's it. Next, we got the Star Hammer. And oh boy, this one's an interesting one. People use this one so wrong. It's like the Crimson. You cannot move while swinging it, but it does massive inflicting damage if hit in the right place. Like there. Does 30... What is that, 35? Oh, wait, no. 12 plus 25. 37 damage, which is, again, not that bad. You do get hyper armor while doing this. As shown right there. However, you still can take some damage. Its ability allows you to get a star, a spiky star, and it does severe knockback plus a lot of damage up close. if they get hit by it. It has a short cooldown too. 32-second cooldown. The star is able to hit things and still knock them back and stun. Even if you don't get the hammer hit with them from up close. So you could technically use this to snipe people, yes. Now, I don't know if it counts as a projectile, so we're going to test it out real quick. No, it doesn't. Okay. So it's unblockable. Unless you have the fencing coil. Which then they would just absorb it. As shown here. Yep, just blocked. Just blocked. Again, you want to use stuff that you use for the Crimson Sword and stuff like that to help get more mobility, because it will... You can still move around while attacking with it, like you do with the Crimson Sword, if you use stuff like instant transmission or stuff like that. Which I will go over those. Next is we have the stop sign. This one's kind of like the Crimson Sword again, but less heavy in a way. Good range, once you get close enough, does 35 damage. And it can also do a stun depending on where you are. If you're closer, and also apparently not back. Its ability summons a car that does 10 damage and knockback and stun. But mainly this is used for the knockback. The car goes wherever you're facing and you use the ability in a straight line. So as you saw right there, the car cannot hurt you, so don't worry about it hitting you. You only want to worry about when somebody's using it against you and it hits you, because then you might be in trouble. On to the next weapon. The suplex. This one is you have to grab your opponent. It's one of those grab ones. You grab your opponent, you slam into the ground, 40 damage. It also kind of disables them on the ground for a bit, so they can't do anything until they get back up. Again, this is better used for instant transmission because it lunges you forward and you cannot move backwards, meaning you can easily miss with this, somebody could punish you on it. It does have a nice lunge, though, so you could get them a bit from afar if you wanted. Other than that, has no hidden abilities or anything else. Sword of Starlights is a sword that does 21 damage. However, it does have a tick on it, a tether tick, that it's like a star explosion, does 10 damage like you saw right there. You also, if you hit the target enough, you will get a speed buff of 15 when using this weapon. Of course, when you equip it, you already get the 4. But this does allow you to speed around opponent. The more times you hit them, the more explosion the star will be. Or I guess actually not, because it... Well, actually, no, you can only have 1 star on them before it explodes. It only does 10 damage. But it's not that bad. Yep. It does not stack. 21 per damage per hit. You really want the speed boost, because that just helps you do more. The Thermal Fist. Thermal Fist has 4 abilities plus a passive ability. What it does is, it does 3 damage, you do a punch, and anything in front of these air punches will take damage. Its first ability is a forward punch. If it will become available again. Like that. But I missed. I keep missing. I don't understand that. Why does it do that? Let me go first person, see if that changes anything. As you see, every time you punch, that bar goes up. becomes red. This is where the more that heat gets up, you start to do burn damage per hit. The next ability is a flying lunge. Whenever it hits the target, it will do 4 damage and 8 damage. Its next ability is you would fly up in the air with them and hit them. Its next ability is a ground slam. So usually this ability is better once you get this. Oh, not that. Once you do this, you can immediately go for this and do a ground slam. It's very helpful, very strong. I'm not sure why the first ability is not working, but the first ability basically is just a giant air punch forward that can do huge damage if hit. For some reason, I don't know why. There we go, I just got it. It does 12 damage. I guess you gotta do it in the air, I'm guessing. And angle it. For some reason, I think it kept missing. There is no limit, because you can also do this ability in the air as well. But the main idea is to get that heat bar up. You don't have to hit a target to get it up, but it does give you more build up if you do hit a target compared to not hitting a target. You can hold it, which I never knew. Very strong, very powerful. The damage! Very strong, you are able to hold it. On PlayStation, you can just hold the attack trigger and it will just keep punching. The Tommy gun! This one's self-explanatory. You have 40 bullets, you get up to them. For some reason my character's not letting me hit them. And you could do 9 damage of tick per hit. You will eventually have to reload, but the nice part is you can move around while reloading. Whenever you do shoot, it will slow you down to 8 speed. There is a way around this, though. If you have something like instant transmission, it will allow you... That's a weird hitbox. But anyways, it will allow you to not have to sacrifice your speed, and you can still move at normal speed. But again, a lot of these weapons, it takes time and practice, so don't rush yourself. Next is the Tricky Sign, which you gotta love. It does a forward lunge that does 30 damage per hit. Its ability does a projectile pull that does 12 damage. It's supposed to pull, but it's not pulling you. There we go. This can be parried, though, so be careful. Oh, no, it can't be parried. Wait, can it? It cannot be parried. It's unparryable. Good to know. Cannot be parried at all. When it does hit a target, it does hit them back a bit. It doesn't do stun, just does a bit of knockback. Next is the Trunk Sword, which is an interesting one. It does slashes that do 22. Its ability does air slash, where you cut them up a bunch of time and then you send them flying that way. You can do instant transmission, then do this immediately after to catch your opponents off guard because they won't have any reaction time. Because it's very quick. You can also do it in the air. However, this cannot hit. I'm pretty sure this cannot hit multiple, but we're going to test. Yeah, it can't hit multiple. It can only hit one target at a time. Your slashes can, though, hit multiple. It doesn't matter. It does have a cool animation. Oh, whenever you're whenever you're attacking in the air, it does slow you down briefly to where you can somewhat glide, but it's not that reliable for gliding at all because it barely slows you down. Next is the Underdwelling Power. This one is interesting. This one's attack does a forward lunge that does 31 damage. Now, unlike some of the like the Link Sword, you could use this to lunge with and still hit your target. Like that. Its ability is a Shattered ability, which can hit infinite amount of target. Oh. Almost died. The ability slows them down. It will give a speed debuff as well as 20 damage by 20 damage, and then the decrease their speed by 3. This has, like I said, unlimited pierce. If you really want to go crazy with it, you can go crazy with it. Its lunge also has infinite pierce. I never really found any use for this weapon. Next is the Undying Spear. This one's ability sends out a row of spears, which then once pierce the target, it will start throwing spears at them from all directions, as long as they have that heart icon on them. And of course, this has unlimited targets it can hit. So hold on, let me spawn a more straighter line because it's better used for straighter. You can curve it, which I'll show after this. There we go. Unlimited pierce. You can curve it like that if you wanted so. The way you're facing your camera is the way it's going to curve. Does have a 35-second cooldown, looks to be. Or 39-second cooldown. This is very effective whenever you do have somebody like friends, because if I were, let's say I put this one there, this one there, this one there, and this one right here. These can still, even though these ones did not get hit by it, they can still get hit by the ones going out away from it, regardless of where they are. Watch this one. See how it still takes damage? So if you have, like, the ability, the friend's ability, that's very helpful, because then you can allow it to hit a lot of people in the field when they're not even hit by it to begin with. Next is the Venom Shark Sword. No. This one's pretty standard. You hit them, Apparently I can't hit them for some reason. Yeah, your target does 15 damage. It does a poison tick damage. Kind of like the burning, but poison. You may notice this arrow. That's because your ability is a teleport to the last target you hit with the sword. And it doesn't matter where you are, you're going to teleport to them regardless. The arrow kind of helps show. You can't really see on that map because it's, again, dark. But welcome back. You hit them, you teleport. There will be times where you do hit them and the thing won't show up, but that's because you already used the teleport. It won't be available again until you hit them again with the ability available. The ability has to be available for you to get the teleport ability. That's up to a 32-second cooldown, which is not bad. This can definitely be used to surprise people. What I like to do is hit them once, back off, and then think they're safe, immediately swing while teleporting them again. Very powerful, very strong. Oh, real quick. Actually, this effect does stack, by the way. Come on. The poison does stack, meaning you can have multiple poisons on them. Multiple poison ticks. Next is the Wind Force, and then we only have like 4 weapons left for melee. The Wind Force is an interesting weapon because this weapon does 28 and it does huge knockback. It's only an overhead swing and a jab, but this thing does a lot of knockback. Its ability is a roll. It's a forward jump roll for mobility. You can use it in the air, which is better than using it on the ground, because you go more farther in the air. Not really anything else to say about this sword other than the knockback is huge, so you gotta keep that in mind. Next is the literal U. You have a literal U. Does huge knockback, 29 damage. Does only 1 swing attack, so be mindful. Its ability is a grab ability over your leg, where you basically just do that. Let me do it again. This does momentarily stun them on the ground, but it's a very small amount. As soon as they get back on the ground, you can just hit them again, send them flying. Like this. And you just send them flying. Let me show it again, so that way you can see, because I didn't really get a good one of that. Like that. It's just, you completely sent them flying with it. Get my account back over here. Getting close, but no. It is getting very close, though. Because there's not many weapons left. Next, we got the Zap. It's like 2 more after this. The Zap, how it works is you just charge it up and then you just go up and zap them. They are stunned, like, they are perma-stunned while they're getting hit by this. Meaning what you could do, and if I were to cancel it, they're still going to be partially stunned from it. So what I usually do is I run shotgun with this, trench shotgun. I zap, walk up to them, zap them. Once they get stunned, back off, shoot them with it. Okay. Other than that, Zap doesn't, that's all the Zap does. It doesn't have an ability. It's not that bad a weapon. You do still take damage while doing the Zap, though, so be mindful of that. Next one is the Cryptic Essence, and this one is so slept on. This weapon is so slept on. It has a buff, but we'll focus on the buff later. This does have a leap, but first its main attack is a jab that does 13 damage, and it does a bit of poison damage. Its ability, oh, I just did the leap. Okay, well, we got to see do the leap. The leap, you leap in the air, you hit the target, it does 20 damage and a bit of poison. This buff allows you, instead, to 13, does 19 damage plus a bit more poison. Poison doesn't change. The buff does apply to the jump, by the way. you can have the buff active while doing the jump because they're both separate things. Let me show you what they both look like. See the damage increase. Does 30, does 10 more damage than normal. It is important to have the buff active whenever you can have an active because it does a lot more damage for this weapon and is honestly a need for if you're going to do damage with this weapon. The lunge also, no, not hostile. The jump does have unlimited pierce. So you can hit as many targets as you want with it. The jab also has infinite pierce. This weapon, this is the last melee weapon. This weapon's in Japanese, so I don't know how to pronounce it, but basically it's two swords, simple, walk up, slash, has 3 different slash attacks, has a right, left, and then a cross slash attack. It's low damage, which is not bad. What the main factor about this is its ability. It takes 25% of your health, which is 25 hit points, and then it does this area effect damage of an area. The longer they stay in it, the more damage they do. They get a slow debuff of 12% of their speed being debuff. And this does a lot of damage, but this also takes a lot of your health. And it's a fast recharge, so it's easy to get yourself killed with this ability. Has unlimited pierce, does 8 ticks of damage for a while. Has unlimited pierce for the main attack. The range is nothing to joke about because the range is very big on this weapon. Here's the ability again. There's this area effect, slows them down in it while they're in it. Whenever somebody does use this against you, you want to get out of that area effect or else you are going to be hurting. This doesn't matter about anything else. If you don't get out, you're going to die to it most likely. But you also... It's a good thing for you, though, because they also lose health for it, because every time they do it, it doesn't take a part of their health. That is all of the weapons, y'all. Every single one I covered. There's not any other ones I have not. Until they update this game and add more melee weapons, I won't be making another one of these. The only reason I would be making another one of these is for the range category, the special category, match category, as well as your fast movement category. I'm going to end the stream here. Thank y'all for showing up in today's stream. I will probably stream later. Not sure. We'll see. This was definitely fun doing. Goodbye.